Hi, everyone. Welcome to Pieces of a Woman. I'm DeAnna Robbins.
And I'm Christy North. We just want to make sure you know that every time we do an episode. Whose voice is whose, right?
We're in the middle of summer. How have you been? We kind of took July off because I feel like people are traveling and doing their thing.
Do you guys kind of shut down the office a little bit, or at least your work during July?
No, not
the office,
really.
maybe not, but
Yeah.
a little less.
I would say it's interesting. I think people are in vacay mode, and I would say real estate in general kind of slows down as far as buyers and people wanting to, but then it ramps back up. We're seeing a ramp up again right now, but that's pretty typical of
And then
July.
it slows
How
down
about
in
you?
August until school gets in,
Yeah.
I think. So July, I always cancel my sales meeting in July.
Oh,
I
you
don't,
do?
I don't hold one because I feel like it's asking a lot of people to schedule that in, although I still think it's something that you could fit in, but I just choose to not put that out there and let them have the whole month of no sales meeting.
Yeah.
But it is a little bit slower. I don't even know if it's slower as much as it is the two holidays that we get in Utah.
Yeah.
The national one and then the Utah one. And so that kind of changes things for us. I know you guys feel it too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And it's been a really weird summer for those of you that don't live in Utah. We have been hit with a lot of heat, but also a lot of fires.
A lot of fires.
And it's really sad, just the devastation of the fires. And so no fireworks for our two holidays and our state holidays, July 24th. And so it's kind of sad, a lot of drone shows, but it's okay to not have the fireworks. I'm okay with
I'm all about it.
I just worry so much about, we need a big winter as much as I don't love the snow.
Yeah.
The cold, but
we need
a big winter.
We need the water.
What have you been doing fun this summer?
So we have been, let me think here, it's been kind of chaos between work and traveling and the kids. I'm trying to think about what we've done that's really consumed a lot of our fun and mostly just spending time with the kids.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
That.
Yeah.
We've had a really busy summer. Kids out of school. We've got a lot of change happening in the family. Sid's going back to grad school. So that transition, her last day of work was yesterday with Terry. And Terry gave her a cute little party and farewell. And they were so sweet. And Terry Lund is the owner of Ohana Title. I want to give her a shout out because she's an amazing woman. And she's an entrepreneur. And she's created a really great environment. But Sid, title insurance just isn't her jam. Like she knew it wasn't.
She tried it.
The experience you have at every job just leads to the next thing, right? And it just confirmed for Sydney that she wants to do something different. So she's going back to grad school to get her occupational therapist license. She's doing fantastic. We had a crazy summer. We did have a trip to Paris in the heat.
Yes.
To watch Bruno Mars in concert, which is really fun. It was fantastic. And I thought Paris was wonderful. Sometimes people say, oh, Paris people are really rude to, they don't like Americans. Didn't feel that at all. It was beautiful. But yeah, it's been a busy summer. But I wanted to say, so we kind of did on our last episode, we did a PSA. Well, this public service announcement is really more about a book. I have always been a big reader, but I may have already read it when we recorded last time. But if you are a reader, the number one bestseller right now, I think, is Theo of Golden.
Yes.
Have you read it?
I have read it.
Oh, I love it.
I read it a couple months ago.
Okay.
Yes.
So some book read of the summer has been Theo of Golden. I love it. Did you enjoy it? Did you?
For me, I read it at the lake, and it's the perfect lake book, I think, to be reading. And I thought it was so sweet. One of our good friends, Gary Cannon, gifted everybody the book. I had already read it, but that doesn't mean I'm not excited to have it because I read it on Kindle. So I love the idea of having the actual book or gifting it to someone.
I love it. Gary's the avid reader. He's so thoughtful. He listens to our podcast, which we appreciate you, Gary. Thank you. And that was a very uplifting book. Funny enough, so he did an interview with Oprah on her podcast. And to hear him, this is his first book.
Yes.
And to hear his story. Anyway, I highly encourage if you're looking for a really good, feel-good book, I think that one was it for me for the summer. So anyway, I was sad when it ended.
I felt like it was a feel good all the way through. And then I was like, what? Wait, I went back, reread it. And no, that didn't happen. Went back, reread it again.
Yeah.
And I did not see that coming.
So I've heard he's writing another book. Have you?
Good.
I've heard he's writing another book based on
hope he does.
Ellen in the.
Oh, I love it.
Yes. And so I think I don't know. Don't fact check me on it because I'm not sure.
So there you go. Recommendation of the month.
Yeah.
I haven't read it. It's a good read.
Yeah. So, and you're ready for fall.
So we have in September, we are hosting our first reunion bereaved mother retreat, which will be in Costa Rica this year. So this retreat, the mothers pay. So it's not sponsored by the nonprofit.
Okay.
It's one that they are choosing to go and do as a check-in. Where am I at? What have I been doing? How am I doing? And they're connecting with other mothers that were not necessarily at their retreat, but they're because we do 3 retreats a year. So they will be other mothers that were at different retreats that might have been outside of theirs. And so that is coming up in September. And then, of course, we're in gala mode, getting ready for the gala, and that'll be in November.
That is so exciting.
So, still busy.
All the moms coming together.
A few. So we only have enough room for, I think we're doing 8 mothers.
Okay.
And then we have Kim, Leanne, and myself. And we have Debbie is coming.
Oh my gosh.
So Debbie does foot zoning, but she also has a lot of intuitive gifts. And so she would be there. And we will do some similar modalities throughout the week, but it's really going to be more of a free-flowing week. But again, a check-in just to some of these mothers came to our very first retreat we ever had, which was 9 years ago, and some more recent. And so it's just an opportunity to, where are you? How are you doing? What's working? What's not working?
The work you do is so powerful. I mean, it's so powerful. And I just heard of somebody else losing somebody the other day, and it just always breaks your heart. So thank you for always continuing to do that. And I want to give a shout out to Debbie. So you introduced me to Debbie, who does the foot zoning.
Yes.
It was a beautiful experience, and I highly recommend her. And I know for people that don't necessarily know what that is you go in and it's somewhat of reflexology, very lightly.
Yes.
But it's more about her reading your energy and, I mean, even health things. And
she does.
Anyway, fantastic. So I highly recommend her. If you want her information, just contact us. Reach out to us on social media, or text us, whatever, and let us know. We'll get.
And we'll also put it. We can put that info on our.
Oh, true.
And our show notes. But she's a beautiful, beautiful soul.
Yeah.
And I happened upon her, and she was able to come and help out the retreats, and the mothers love her.
I love it.
And at the very end of the day, if you don't get any type of messaging, you get a really good foot massage.
So good. I wanted to also bring up to you. So our last episode was on leadership and different styles of leadership. You remember we talked all about that. And I had some great feedback from it. People really appreciated the insight. And I got some feedback too of, I wish you would have dived deeper into how you do certain things, or Christy. And so anyway, I just
opportunity for us to do maybe another episode.
Yeah. And also we're getting into the time of year where I know in my business and probably your business, in October tends to be kind of the business planning mode for the next year.
Yes.
It's a little early, but there's something I want to share that we have always done. So I just thought this was really cool. I want to plant the seed. So I'm doing this for all my coaching clients. But Scott and I, as you know, write a letter to each other every year. Did I already talk about this?
I don't know, but let's do it anyway.
We write a letter to each other every year, kind of manifesting, projecting what this next year we hope to have happen, right? And it's personally, it's business, it's financial, it's all the things, right? And we seal it, and then we give it to each other on January 1st or New Year's Eve.
Does it include like commitments you're making?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Like
to each other.
I include all my children, my grandkids, everybody. Like I'm so excited that they accomplished. So I write it as though it has already happened. The power of opening it at the end of the year and reading is so crazy. So many of the things come true. Several do not. And some you're like, oh, that doesn't even matter anymore. Like
you've shipped it.
Course, right?
Yeah.
So when we went to Paris, they have a couple of these different coffee shops that you can go into and you can write a letter to yourself and seal it and everything. I'm going to share some pictures on our site, but they seal it and they'll mail it to you in a year, or you can do 5 years. Or you can do 20.
That's amazing.
Anyway,
I think we did talk about it, but hey, if anybody didn't listen to that episode, they're getting it again.
That's true. When I announce that, I'm going to do a free event in January for that. So anyway, really fun.
So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, it'll be great. So today we were kind of talking about, we do the pre-talk before we start recording. So we always have the talk before the talk.
And we
try not to catch up on too much, right?
And honestly, in the mix of us trying to figure out our technology for an hour before we actually start recording.
God bless us. And thank you for us finally getting it together. But we kind of touched on a topic that I know everybody in our age group for sure, and probably younger, and even our grandparents or parents, they all went through. And the topic is really of your adult children when they make decisions that you agree with or don't agree with is really the big one, or it feels really uncomfortable. And some of them are life choices. Some of them are family or how they choose to discipline their kids or not discipline their kids, or how do you navigate that? And we just thought it was kind of an interesting topic because we have a lot of adult children.
A lot of adult kids. I look back at the younger chapters of our life and raising young kids all the way through their teenage years and then their young adult life as they're transitioning out of high school and so forth. And we don't really have an understanding of what it looks like, the difference between parenting the younger and parenting the older. I feel we were in survival mode all the way through probably their high school. We're also younger. We're surviving so many things, but surviving raising kids. We don't have any clue what we think when they're adults. We're done. No, it is not. Most of it comes into play because, to your point, it's a lot more stressful. So our adult children are making decisions that are bigger things, or the mistakes that are happening, or if something challenging happens, they're bigger than what it was when they were in their younger teenage years. And as a parent, everything you're reading today, or you're hearing on a podcast, or you're hearing on YouTube, or on social media is how parents really need to be able to step back, be an observer, and allow their children to make their mistakes, to make their decisions. And that is so hard to transition out of helping them and supporting them and helping those decisions when they were younger to now them being adults and really figuring out how to let go.
Yeah. Well, I think we have, like, the pendulum has swung so far in both directions, right? We were what you would call the latchkey kids or free range kids. Like, our parents didn't know where we were, what we were doing. Like, we could go to parks, we could ride bikes for hours. Like,
the good old days.
And I'm grateful for that we had that. And then I know I raised my kids a little different, a little bit more fear-based in some ways. I was not a helicopter mom, I don't think by any means, but I definitely was more involved as you were. Because we didn't have that. Now I look at the beauty of we were able to fail. We were able to make a lot of really big mistakes and young.
And we survived.
I think that's the key is letting them make the mistake and fall when they're younger. But now we're navigating a different, I would not call that I am over involved. I don't, maybe you could ask my kids, but you're absolutely right. It's that ability we are in a very different time. The mental health crisis, which there really is. There's a lot of, I just saw a doctor on a podcast talking about the amount of anxiety and antidepressants and amongst teens and like there's that whole thing that we're dealing with too. But young adults, how do we help them and how do we show up and not overdo it and enable them? And that's the hard part. And this is just my perspective of what I want personally. And I'm wanting to empower my kids, but it goes back to the original thing we were talking about is when they make a choice that I go, or as a parent, you're like, this is going to be a hard road that they're choosing. But you also know they got to make the decision.
Correct.
They got to go through it. And how do I best show up in that without it affecting my life? Going back to Debbie, the foot zoning gal, I remember her saying to me, and I'll share this, my daughter, she's way stronger than I ever was. I admire her so much, but she's got a lot on her plate. And one of the things that came out is she said, you're worrying a lot about your daughter. And she said, you got to know she's got this.
Right.
And
just easier said than done.
Yeah. We go through it with every one of our kids.
Well, and if you are in that place, which I have been leaning into the last few years, is not having anxiety over a choice.
Yeah.
Not having regret over a choice. Looking at every choice is not a bad decision. It's not right or wrong. It's a choice.
Yeah.
And so what you go down the path of whatever that choice is, and maybe it didn't play out the way you had hoped or you had planned, but it doesn't mean it was the wrong choice. It led you maybe to something else that you had more awareness around. And so I've really been leaning into that with my children when they're in that fear of making a decision that it's going to be wrong. And so what you just talked about, when your child makes a decision to do something in your guts, like I think that we do have a responsibility to allow them to make their own choices.
Yes.
As hard as they are.
Yeah.
And even though we might see something that they don't see, I think it's important that if it is not the right choice for them, they're going to figure that out and they're going to learn it pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then they're going to pivot
like
we did. If we look back at all the choices we made, and if you would have had this conversation with me, I don't know, 10 years ago, I don't know that I would have the headspace that I have today where I look at it. Now, do I get it right all the time? No. And we parent each child differently.
Yeah.
Right? So one of my children, which we know I have a lot, they don't respond necessarily always in that way. And I have another child that what are you going to do? Whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And you want to go live out of a camper and travel for the next 3 months? Okay.
Yeah.
Why not? Why shouldn't you?
Yeah.
You're in a space at 20-something years old. You'd have no children. You can work remote.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do that? Other children don't have that flexibility because they have children.
Yeah.
And so anyway, my point is that we do parent them differently. So we probably show up for maybe our daughters differently than we do our boys.
I would agree with that. And this is just my personal choice. I also feel we have a responsibility as parents to also navigate or help. And I don't think we just let it go and go, oh, it's just their choice, whatever. I think we have a responsibility to show that we care. And I think you never stop parenting, meaning, oh, just free willy, go do whatever you want and there's no consequences. I think as a parent, we have a responsibility to still try and guide them down a good path.
And I think a really mature and honoring way is what I try to do again, like I said, I don't get this right all the time, but I do it, is asking them.
Yes.
Would you like to hear the things that are coming through in my thoughts as you share this with me?
Yeah.
Would you like my perspective on what this looks like?
Yeah.
And versus us just, why would you do that? Look at all these things down the road that you haven't even considered.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to agree and disagree, just me personally. I think you're right. I think you can't come in and go, you can't, your approach is very different. But I think there's sometimes those cases where we often sacrifice our beliefs in how we are because we're so like trying to be the best, but also we are all who we are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they have to learn to go, oh my gosh, my parents, because now we're in a generation of people disassociating with their parents.
They're
what's it called? Like divorcing their parents. They don't want anything to do. And there is a big movement on that.
It is. It's all over social media.
Like, I really, unless your parents have harmed you intentionally, I think it's a really sad movement because I think it's, well, my parents just don't accept me for who I am. But I think there's also, when you make really dramatic choices, now this is extreme, just because your parents don't agree with it, I don't know what's going on, but I don't feel like your parents have to constantly move around and navigate, and they're supposed to change because does that make sense?
I see where you're going with it. And I think that it depends on the dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Between the child and the parents.
For
so let's
sure.
say you have a child that is dependent on you.
Yeah.
They're in their 20s or 30s and they're dependent on you, and choices they are making where you're talking about you're having to navigate those choices because it's either you picking up the pieces, whether it's emotionally, financially, all of that. Then yes, I agree that you do get to have some input or maybe some guidance of how they're making those decisions. I do look at it today differently than I did back prior to Taylor.
Yeah.
I look at it as I'm here to support them.
Yeah.
And they do need to make their decisions. If it was something super challenging that it was going to impact their life in a really direct way, then I would say, I would probably be a little more involved. For the most part, I'm kind of like leaning more back going, what do you think about that? Tell me what your plan looks like.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do in 3 months or 6 months? And how can I support you?
Yeah.
And would you like my advice on any of this?
Yeah.
Would you like another perspective? Because boy, does mom have a lot of opinions. Well, I could bring them out, but I am changing that conversation and dialogue.
Yeah.
But sometimes my gut is like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I have that reaction where I want to fix it. I want to control it. I want to navigate it, make sure it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I'm watching that because I think, to your point, it's a rocky road. These old adult kids, they want our advice, but then they don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think it's a fine line. I don't know.
It is really hard. I think it's really sad that people will disown their parents because they don't think like them or accept them. And there's a missing component there. I don't think it's about that the parents don't love them. Because look, we accepted our parents for who they were, right? Yeah. I never expected my mom to change or adapt to my lifestyle or that's what I'm saying, right? You have to also learn to love people for who they are. They may not fulfill your needs is what I'm trying, like, I really wish I had more love from so-and-so, or I wish they would have been more supportive, right? That is just
victim
life.
mode. And I also think you have to, have grace for where your parents were coming at and what they were coming from.
Yeah.
And the childhood that they had and the traumas that they also experienced, because all of this generation, many are really in this trauma-based place, which not that saying that they don't have it.
Yeah.
There is some hyper focus that is happening that's creating those separations from their parents.
Yeah.
And the reality is their parents probably had it too.
Well, and 100% I agree with you. And I also think social media is playing a component in that. Back when we were younger, a craze would happen, but it was so much slower, right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't have instant access to everything. And now social media really is problematic to make a new craze or a new fad or a new whatever catch on.
What would you say you're doing today with your adult children as you're navigating decisions that they're making? How are you handling those?
I will say, obviously, I've made mistakes in the past. Sometimes I haven't been able to hide my feelings around something, but I feel like I've done really well. I'm going to give myself some kudos in a way, too, of I was free range is what I would say. So I think the thing I love about that is every mistake I made was mine, but every success I made was mine, too. Like, I knew I could rely on myself, and I knew I owned it. Like, I think taking ownership of how we show up and taking responsibility for who we are. I'm hoping I've taught that to my kids, and I'm so proud of them. And I'm like you, I'm trying to show up the best way, right?
Well, I watch you, DeAnna. And I've heard the stories, I hear the different scenarios, and I think I've learned a lot from you because you are one of those parents, a mother that listens. You don't jump in and try to fix it. You don't try to correct it for them. I watched you just really take a neutral position as your children have navigated different things in their life. And I think that's beautiful.
Well, you're really sweet for saying that because I've learned a lot from you. But I've tried. But, Tasia went through a bunch of stuff and there were so many times. And I kind of took on the role that my mom did do when I was an adult. She would give me her opinion one time.
Yeah.
And though I actually appreciated that, I was still going to do my own thing, right?
Yeah.
But I actually appreciate that's where I'm getting back to. I don't think we just fully, but she told me if she felt a certain way about something, like, I think you're making a mistake. And she did it in a good way. It wasn't like, you're an idiot, you shouldn't be doing it. But she would say, I think you're making a mistake. And let me tell you why. And that's where I think parents are afraid to do now to a point. And I thought it was good, but she still let me go. I mean, she wasn't going to stop me from making.
No, if you were doing
good, God, I made so many mistakes in my life.
And then
and continue, I'm sure.
But you look back and if you look at all of those mistakes, I would imagine there's probably not many that you would look back and go, I wish I wouldn't have done that. You probably went, look what I learned from that.
For sure. I think children need leadership in family.
Yes.
So I think the leadership component also is obviously leading by example. You are the epitome of like, okay, I did that wrong. I got to figure out how to do it better. You're so humble. And we all are. I mean, I think we all try to be better versions. And I'm talking, there's been a few things that have happened. Well, I'll give an example. And Taylor is okay if I share this. He was a teenager who was very tough.
Yeah.
He was choosing a lifestyle that was not working out for me, and he was living with me. And I had to make the hardest decision of my life. And he's got his perspective too, which I would love to bring him on and share.
Yes.
But I had to kick him out. It was either you live by my rules or you have to go somewhere else. And I know he felt completely probably abandoned by me, but I knew I had to make such a hard decision. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Now we are so close. I'm so grateful. I think he learned as he got older.
Right. Parenting's hard and we don't always do it right.
Hard, but it doesn't mean I'm just going to take what he was doing in my home. It's not okay. It was just not okay. So you got to have those values and beliefs for yourself. So that's one example of, it was not fun. It was not easy. I love him. I'm so grateful for him.
And where he's at today.
I mean, oh my gosh.
He's a beautiful family. He's a great dad.
I talk to him almost every day. Thank God we got past that, but that was hard. So anyway, it's the stuff where the kids make, and depending on the age is different.
Well, and we have different relationships with each of the kids.
Yeah.
The way we communicate with them, the way we connect with them, everyone is different.
Yeah.
And the different stages of our life we were at when we had each of them has an impact on that.
Good point.
And when I think about Whitney, my oldest, and we've had this conversation on some of the episodes before, our dynamic is so different as a mother-daughter than my other children, and good or bad. I mean, it has its pros, it has its cons. And she definitely, her relationship with me has created a really hard place for her to make decisions because I've been involved in every decision she has made.
Okay.
And it's not good. It has been something that her and I have been working on where I have to give her more trust and not think that I need to be involved in every decision. Now, it's not because I'm going to her with everyone.
Yeah.
She's coming to me.
Yeah.
And she's learning how to break that enmeshment as well through her own therapy.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is a lot because she's got a lot of mama trauma.
It's that umbilical cord, you know,
yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes. But with my other children, which I had later in life, so put that into perspective.
Yeah.
I had her at 18.
Yeah.
We are mother and daughter. It's also both of us raised each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that dynamic is so unique when it comes to when she makes decisions. True. I am so engaged in every decision she makes because I feel like she's making it for me.
Yeah. Ooh.
Which I have to really step back and sit back and try to remove myself in that energy. Now, then you take Taylor and you take Kennedy and Erica and Colin and Katie, completely different dynamic. Yeah. And I parent so differently. And when, you know, Kennedy's the baby, that says everything, right? Yeah. I mean, when she says, Mom, I'm going to go travel and live out a camper for the next 6 months. Yeah. I'm like, okay, what do you need from me? Yeah. How can I help? What are your concerns that you have? Yeah. What do we need to talk through? And her dad, you're what? You're doing what? Why would you do that?
But I also love that. Yes. He's being who he is, right?
He's learning though too. So Kennedy is also, and I think she'd be okay with me saying this because she's also learning how to embrace this part of her personality and the way she's wired is Kennedy is really creative. So she comes up with all the things that she wants to do. Yeah. And she can design and dream all these possibilities of what it's going to look like. And she shares them. Yeah. And so I've had to coach Kenny through. She likes to share. It doesn't mean it's exactly what she's going to do. So you can't hang your hat on all of the things until it gets there. And once it gets there, then you're ready to commit or not commit to it. And she's an adult. She's going to be 25 this year. Yeah. And we're still, you know, learning how to communicate with her, how to be supportive and not overbearing. Yeah. And I think that's the beautiful part of parenting is we get to always grow. Yes. We can always improve. I do have those aches in my gut. You never want to say you want to live with regret, but there's these aches in my gut that show up and I go, oh, why did I do that? Yeah. Why did I respond that way? I wish I could take that back. Yeah. Oh, I've done that. Yeah. So many times. I would say it's about finding what works for you. I guess part of this message too is when they're making decisions, we don't have to own it. Like if it's something that feels really, oh, why are they doing that? You know, I think they're making a huge mistake is separating from that. Like, okay, this is their life. This is their choice. But how do I love them through it regardless? If it doesn't work out, I will be here. Yeah. To support you. Doesn't mean you have to, however you want to support. Yeah. But mostly emotionally. Yeah. I'm here if it doesn't work out. So I'm sure we're not the only ones that feel or have gone through a lot of this. We have a lot of girlfriends we talk to about stuff and we're like, oh. One of the things I love about our friendship groups and all of my friendship groups is we're real with each other. We don't hold back on the stuff our children are doing. They probably wouldn't appreciate how much we do talk. But it helps us. Yeah. It gives us all like perspective and guidance because we don't hide anything. We say what we're dealing with and what we're navigating because we don't have any shame around it. We love our children. Yeah. And because we're able to do that, we all get to kind of like process together and maybe get guidance or tools on how to navigate something that another parent has navigated. Absolutely. Leaning into each other has been a gift. So, and to all our friends. Yeah. So anyway, we hope you enjoy the rest of your summer and we'll hopefully be back in a couple weeks. Thanks for listening.